Hello, hello, Jen. Welcome to
Hey.
the little program here.
Oh, this is awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. This is I've always said I wanted a talk show, and you know what? Today with social media, people get to do whatever they feel like, for better or for worse.
Yeah,
But uh, but here we are. I just I feel like I have a lot to share, and I know some incredible people, and I'm always excited when they join me to share things. So
nice.
first of all, let's hear a little bit about who you are and what you do for those crazy people who've not contacted you or interacted with you yet. So connect now
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, everybody. But tell us what you do.
Yeah, so thanks. So yeah, I'm Jenn Smyth-Whelly. I'm one of the co-founders of the GC Collective. And that's part of my day-to-day job that I get so much satisfaction in terms of filling up my bucket. So for those of folks that aren't as familiar with the GC Collective, we've been around for a couple years now and are very quickly growing as a emerging community within the general counsel world. We're predominantly based in Canada, but we are growing quite quickly in the US as well. Right now, we're rounding into about 400 members, which is crazy fast within the first 18 months. And we're here on a mission to elevate the role of GC within organizations. And we really are driven with tapping into the collective wisdom of all of these incredible people, seeing and witnessing our members help each other through webinars, through in-person dinners that we have, in various coaching models. It's fantastic to see it come off the page and genuine connections being made across our community. So that's my part of my role day to day. Second to that, also have the great privilege of being an advisor and consultant to GCs and CLOs within their organization day to day. And so my primary role is to help them shape multi-year strategies, and in concert to that, get them into an operations model that's actually working and pragmatic and getting off the page. And underneath all of that, I would say is my skill set in change management and leadership. Although I don't tend to lead with that, I usually lead with strategy and operations because people can kind of get their heads wrapped around that. But really, the secret sauce is the foundational learning of change and leadership.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a fantastic combination of things to bring all together. That leading through change, and of course the
Yeah.
GC role and elevating it, and then bringing together a community around it. It feels like it's such a nice complementary combination of I don't know, skills and interests. Which, hey, how lucky are we when we get to do work and the things that we are good at and we love.
It's
That's
so true. Yeah, it's been a natural evolution. It started with doing consulting, and then through that, seeing a gap of need of a lot of GCs feeling isolated or alone within that executive tier, and really wanting to reach out to other people that were in a similar set of circumstances.
Yeah.
And through that, we've borne out this community, and it's genuinely an honor to be part of it for sure.
Well, I love the way you talk about it, and I have to say, we'll get to contracts in a minute and change management and all the good topics. But I
Mhm.
think there is also a dynamic that's been evolving over the last few years, for sure, and this concept of community being its own thing.
Yeah.
Community seems to have kind of grown around things organically, I guess,
Yeah.
and now there are intentional community building efforts done internally within. Even tech companies are building communities, and then we've got standalone communities, and
Yeah.
I don't know, just it's interesting. It's and there's communities and there's communities. I mean, I have to say,
Yeah. It's true.
there's I would love for you to just maybe share some of the values or guiding principles of what makes GC Collective, which, by the way, a big fan, and we do things together. So
Yeah.
everything's always very transparent. We
Yeah.
love partnering with GC Collective because you do have such an incredibly substantive community. This isn't fun and games. This is people are here to learn, and we love, sharing knowledge of people like that because they absorb it like a sponge, and you can see real value. So anyway, the full disclosure, absolutely love what you guys are doing, and I'd love to just maybe talk a little bit more about what makes you stand out, or what's different about what you try to form.
Yeah, like I love the question, and I love that you've actually sort of hit on some of the notes that we're trying to espouse within guiding principles and values. So I would say that we're really trying to bring together a group of GCs that are interested in learning and growing and having authentic, real conversations about stuff that's hard to have conversations around. And so
Yeah.
there are a lot of different communities out there that offer networking or professional development to, sort of checkbox those CPD credits that you're supposed to get. And there's obviously great room and need for that. And we are a little different in the sense that we're opening conversations around emotional intelligence and how you elevate yourself at a GC table, an executive table. And how do you navigate politics within your organization and so on. So these are a little atypical that you see maybe through professional associations or other communities that take a different angle towards bringing people together. And we love that there's a lot of different variety out there, because our community is not going to be for everyone. And we understand that. We're really interested in trying to have people that are interested in doing a little bit of self-reflection, sharing that with others, and also living within the intention of lifting up other people along the way.
Right.
And so we see that time and time again. And
yeah, I love, you mentioned it, and we talk about this quite a bit with some of the clients that we have the most trusted relationships with. We feel it right away because we talk about the politics, the internal challenges they have, getting a seat at the table in the way that how do you use whatever project we're working on to elevate your role, the decision-making authorities, the all these things that they're the ugly underbelly of corporate life. That's a reality, and very few
100%.
people kind of want to just call it out what it is. The beauty of running your own business is you get to say whatever you want, and I think it's nice. There's just an authenticity that we've discovered, certainly working with you all, and I think that's how we operate. And it's not for everybody. And I love how you said that. The same with our clients. We've discovered the same thing. There are just people who really don't want to hear the real hard truths, and they don't like it. Mm-hmm. And we have to say, you know what? I can't tell you what you want to hear, because that would compromise, my exactly. 100%. And so it's hey, entrepreneurial life isn't for everybody either. So that's something we've bonded over for sure. But let's lead into the topic at hand. And it's funny because I have this banner here, and I always admit that everything I do is an experiment, and it truly is. But I did this banner. No, this is the one. I was in another, having another chat. And as we're chatting, I asked the question of like, give me the one takeaway. And we're down to we're at 29 and a half minutes of our discussion. And it was all about a CLM project that was an in-house law department leader. And I had no idea what he was going to say. Again, these are all unscripted, which is why they're so much fun for me. And I had no idea. And as he's saying, he's like, I just have to say blah, blah, blah. And then he said it, change management. I couldn't type fast enough. I was like, boom, and I just put it up there. And he's like, yes, that. And I was like, and I'm telling you, I didn't plan. This was, I'm just so grateful he said it, because this is like the unsung hero of every tech project. And in our case, let's just talk about contract management technology, contracting automation tech, contract CLM. I don't care what you call it. There is a frenzy right now 100%. In this space. Fun time to be in this space for those of us who've been around it for a couple of years. But the frenzy is causing some crazy behaviors. I mean, some bad decisions, some just a little it's a little chaotic. And what we realized very quickly on, this is a people problem. This is not a tech problem. The tech is either as good or as bad as it is. It is what it is. You may not know what it is because you probably didn't go through the change management efforts to really understand it, to really prepare your users. Anyway, but I'm not going to steal your thunder. I know this is a topic that's a big friend of yours. And where do we even start? Let's start first with what is it? What is it? It sounds so consultanty. I confess, and I'm the first one to call it that. I'm like, it's just the words are something, but tell us what is it?
Yeah, it's funny. It is a really elusive concept. And I can't tell you how many times I hear it's so important, change management is so important. And then you ask people to sort of like define it and what is it, and they struggle with that part. So change management in very simple terms is guiding a group of people from current state to a desired future state. And it usually runs parallel along our friends within project management that we need to help sort of keep us honest in terms of deadlines, tasks, ownership, all risks, all of that kind of stuff. But what change management is doing is keeping an eye on more the emotional layers of the conversations where we're getting stuck, either in terms of not having all the facts or the data available, not having all perspectives at the table, underestimating the points of resistance on some key points of the how and why the change is happening. So change management it's a little bit of one of those black arts of folks that can have some training towards it. But once you understand some primary and like sort of foundational frameworks around it, it is truly can be a superpower for anyone working in contract management and or a GC. They will take a different lens to a conversation and get beyond just the words and sort of the tasks and to-dos that they have to do, and get underneath that and go, okay, so what are we stuck on here? Why are we not moving forward? We keep circling on these business requirements over and over and over again. We can't seem to get a confirmed list. Why is that?
Yeah, I love that. It's like deep listening skills is what it sounds
really
like.
Is.
And I hate, we don't want to sound too consultancy on the one hand, and we don't want to sound too fluffy on the other hand, but this is a people thing. Everything, I would say the best tech implementations are about the people. The worst tech implementations are about the people. I mean, there's really no mystery here, and yet it is constantly overlooked. It's constantly like, I don't know. I think you said it really well when you said it's like it's not they underestimate, right? There's a big underestimation that's happening, and just how important it is. Your first part of your definition was very nice and clear and clean, and it is sitting on a pile of actually meaty, important things. So you said it's getting from current state to future state. And that is managing the change from current to future.
Yeah.
But oh my God, how many people jump into projects before they even understand their current state? Besides, I hate it. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Things aren't good. I mean, those are like the problem statements we hear. Things are a mess. This is a mess. Contracting is a mess. That's not a current state. It's not enough of a current state description to do anything with. So
100%.
Tell me a little bit about how much time and effort do you spend on the current state to understand it?
Yeah, it's great. So the sort of the mantra that I try to instill with groups that I'm working with is that we got to slow down to speed up. So let's make sure that we have, first off, a clear articulation about the problem that we're trying to solve. And so if this is in the context of contract management, getting really clear on, are we going to work with the existing tool that we have? And this is about reconfiguring it in a way that more meets the needs of the variety of different stakeholders that are going to interface with this particular tool? Or is this, the problem is, this tool that we're working with is no longer going to meet our growing needs as we're scaling the business really quickly. And this is now about rehauling and evaluating new options. It is funny how just doing a very quick temperature check on that is usually like, okay, we have a divided room here. We've got a bunch of people that are quite married to current state, this tool that they're using, and they do not want to come off it. And then we've got a group of people that are very disenchanted with a tool and they want to get off of this as soon as possible.
And so what do you do with the quiet ones in between, by the way?
Oh, I know. The completely ambivalent, those ones are like, nah, I don't care. Just tell me when it's over. Tell me when you make a decision.
Right. But then what if, they say that now?
Yeah. And then down the road, they have a different opinion. Yeah.
That's it. It's, I mean, again, this is like a people, you're like the psychologist, the therapist. I mean, right?
You are. You're trying to unearth perspectives. You're trying to get engagement. You're trying to instill your opinion on this is important. You might not have this, not might maybe at the top of your priority list right now, because you've got a whole bunch of other things that are going on in your world, Mr. CRO, or the sales ops individual, stakeholders that might not be directly involved. But down the road, when you have to be somehow more involved, this decision this is important right now to get you involved. So it's trying to persuade, influence, appeal to all the different stakeholders around the table to understand the severity of the decision you're trying to make. So what is the decision based on the problem statement? And then the second question that usually gets us a little tripped up is, who is the decision maker?
Yes. What is it so scary for people to just say raise your hand, just do it. And I feel like that paralysis, is it a fear? Is it just like and again, it goes back to some of the underbelly of corporate life. I'm sorry to say it, but is it just a fear of, I'm going to be called out, I might make the wrong decision?
Yes. Yep. All of the above. And I will say,
nobody has a right decision, by the way. Hey, there is no one right answer. Newsflash. Right?
Yep. This is when you need to be clear on not only who the decision maker is, but the decision-making framework you're going to use to make the decision.
Okay.
And this is where I will say, us Canadians tend to have a little bit of this isn't sometimes our strength, because we tend to fall back to consensus-based decision making, and we want everyone to be happy, or at least the vast majority to be happy. So we start to lean towards almost voting systems. And this is where you need to nudge and guide organizations and leaders to say, we need to be clear on who the decision maker is. And this decision maker needs to embody responsibility and accountability to bring in all of the perspectives, understand the pros and cons from the process, technology, and people side of making this decision. And then they need to own it. And that's the hard part. See, this is where I say change and leadership really start to bump up together. Absolutely. Of like, this truly then starts to become a leadership moment of like, this is my accountability as the GC in this moment to make this decision, knowing that not everyone's going to be happy, and or I might not be fully right. This might not be. We might come down, 90 days or a year from now going, ugh, this particular tool didn't quite meet the expectations that we were all hoping it would. And that's hard. That's tough. Tough to do.
That's right. Tell me a little bit about how do you use, and I think I'm guilty of sometimes conflating the project management and the change management, and you mentioned it a little bit, but one thing I learned along the way when I was in-house, when I was living and breathing kind of these painful changes and decisions, was documentation becomes your best friend. I mean, I don't want to be like one of these CYA people, but you kind of need to write down who was in the room, what were the decisions made, who wasn't in the room but was invited. I mean, I think it's not like you're always preparing for litigation or trial, but it feels like you are, because in big corporations, especially, things can come back to you, or they, and it's not a pleasant way, but how do you balance that feeling of, hey, I'm not doing this to be cheesy, but this is good hygiene. This is good, just, I don't know, corporate hygiene, but I love your thoughts on like, where does that kind of come together? And is there a good cop, bad cop approach to it?
All good questions. Like so yes, I would say documentation is a friend. How you choose to use your voice within documentation, there's a lot of different varieties. You can become legalese, and it starts to feel very formal and rigid. And I wouldn't advise that. What I would advise is something of being very explicit and clear on, we're approaching a key decision milestone in this process. And here's all the steps we're going to take in order to make, let's say it is selecting a tool. We're going to be clear on the process that we're going to use in order to make this decision. Here is the decision maker. We're going to use a RACI model of accountability, where people understand when they're consulted and informed and who's responsible and who's going to be accountable, all of those things. We need you to be engaged in this process, this is your opportunity. If you aren't able to come or you choose not to engage, that's a decision that you're making. It isn't
Right.
a decision. And so this is being really clear and above board and transparent on how we're going to play the game together. Giving people a chance to opt in. And if they choose to opt out, then that's a choice that they made.
Yeah. And do you feel the conversation is important where you really just say, look, I'm noticing you're not providing a ton of feedback or input, and that's your choice.
Yeah.
But like, how do you kind of do that in a way that lands the message of, hey, we're going with or without you.
Yeah.
You had the chance to play. Don't come back, the Monday morning after. And then, is there a way to approach that? I think these are really sensitive and difficult conversations, and people shy away from them. And then when those things are not said, it will come back, and then it's just also a morale tank to the whole team. So especially as a leader, have you had, experience, or have you examples of like, how did that conversation go? What are the talking points people can use?
Yeah. So I think that's so like bang on, like just trying to find what your key messages are to appeal to this person, to sort of bring them back in under the tent. Something to the effect of like, we value your opinion. We want it included in here. We want to see you engaged by attending the meeting, sharing your perspective. The story I have is that you might not be fully as invested in this particular tool. You might not be as happy with it as maybe you are sharing at this time. We want to hear that, because the window is closing in terms of the opportunity to be consultative right now. And so bring your opinions to the table. We don't all have to agree with one another, but we have to move forward with these decisions. And then down the road, we all have to own it. Like we all made the decision.
I have to say that is such a nice and positive. Everything you just said, I'm like, yes, that doesn't sound combative at all. And I think some of us could use this coaching from you, Jen.
There you go. Trying to disarm, like it's trying to disarm, like, because you, as soon as you have defensive mechanisms in place, then you lose people. And so what you want to try to do is like, I want you to come along on the journey with me, but I can see, and I'm going to do everything I can in my locus of control to bring you along. But I'm also going to say, if you choose not to jump on board, then I'm going to move on without you. I am. So,
that's important. This is the art form. This is definitely the art form. It's how to bring people along. Okay. So we talked about, current state. We need you here. We need you to tell us what is and isn't working well. Be involved. And then you're collecting requirements. And like you said, like, what are we getting stuck? So definitely change management is getting unstuck program is what it sounds like. The plan to unstick. Now, let's talk a little bit then about this perfect intersection that you mentioned already about leadership, where change management becomes leadership.
Yeah,
I'm a big proponent of, and we have a framework for transforming contracting. And one of the first thing in it is who's your executive sponsor, and we've created a bit of a litmus test for just passive sponsorship, to put it politely, nicely. And then there's like the real sponsorship, the show, the lead by example. We're in it to win it. And that is another touchy-feely smell test of which kind of sponsor you have. So I'd love to hear your thoughts as you work, especially with leaders. How do you make sure they're really leading? They're not just putting their name on a project charter and then are nowhere to be found when things get sticky.
Such a so a huge part of whether or not this is going to be successful is having active, visible leadership along whatever change you're trying to endorse. And if it's not there, the probability of success goes down significantly in change management terms. And so when I'm working with leaders on a system implementation to a large scale organizational business transformation, I need to be very explicit on how I need to see them behave and act in this moment. And so I'll be like, I need you to show up at these meetings, and you're not just a face on a Zoom call. I need you to be helping guide the situation in these ways. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of, this is where I'm coaching a lot
Yeah.
again with leaders to say, I'm going to give you some talking points. We can anticipate so and so and so and so being very frustrated about the following topics. Anticipate that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I would say, you sort of touched on this, Lucy, of there's a term in change management called expect white water. So when a boat is going across beautiful, flat, still water, it kicks up a wake.
Yeah.
And so that's change. So
Yeah. Yep.
having resistance is normal and to be expected. And so as leaders or people guiding change, it's starting to get comfortable with that resistance point and not getting defensive ourselves, instead trying to de-escalate and bring them along on the journey. So our tone of voice, our choice of words, our approach with those folks are super, super important to bring them along. Otherwise, you can escalate the problem if you become combative or not listening or dismissing their perspectives as well. And so
you have a calming dynamic about you, Jen, which I think is part of that's part of what you kind of need to have to do this.
You got to be super comfortable with conflict, and you have to be comfortable with like, I'm okay. I see you. I see you're frustrated. I see you are really. So there is another wonderful person that I worked with years ago that would talk about change from two different perspectives. You'll hear people talk about, this isn't best practice. This tool is crap. This tool is not the tool that I wanted. It doesn't integrate well with Salesforce or whatever. And you'll hear all of these sort of resistance points. But back here, somebody is saying, I'm kind of nervous they're going to do a different tool because this might change my job. I might not know what I'm doing. Yeah. I might be rolled out of this organization because I'm obsolete. So there's two different conversations going on, and you're trying to get back here to go, what's going on for you right now that this is bringing up that wake? Yeah. And how do we disarm that to reassure you, you're still really, we need you here. We need you to be part of this change. All the stuff that you learned on this tool is going to be able to transfer over here. Yes, it's going to require a change in your skill set or competencies, and to do that, but we're here to support.
Yeah. Amazing. So much EQ in this.
100%.
I mean, it actually is 100% EQ.
It is 100% EQ. Yep.
Right.
You're
99% EQ and then 1%, good project management, like tools. You need the one document that I loved, I discovered with one of my really a good longtime colleague of mine I was introduced to when I was still in-house at Microsoft, and then she was with one of the kind of big consultancies, and just this like professional, project manager came in with all the spreadsheets, all the charters, all the things. And there was one that, boy, I glommed onto. I've written 3 books now. It's in 2 of the 3 for sure.
Nice.
I think she noticed it. And I was like, is that a form of flattery? But it's a stakeholder analysis.
100%. I love that you said that. That's like 100%. Like, that is such a piece of gold. Like, when I share that through EQ sessions or change management sessions, or even like crafting a strategy for a legal department, if you write this down and check in on it every month, it is always surveying who's around you. Who has power to change your world? Who has interest? How are they moving? How are you keeping them engaged with you? It changes everything, and it changes your view on the conversation that you're having around you while you're leading change, for sure.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad I said something that
you said it like bang
you're
on
the
that.
pro. Well, and I know a good thing when I see it. So when I saw that document, I was like, this is gold.
This is so good.
So detailed. And by the way, to those who are listening, it is not rocket science. You do not actually need a template. You need to know who, what they think, why they think. You need to know why they might resist, and what can you do about it, and who are their peers, and who's a detractor, and who's it's just and you can create your own labels, and you can make secret. I mean, this isn't like a burn book or anything, but this document gets pretty serious. right?
Serious
I mean,
conversations. Yeah, for
it's
sure.
very serious conversations. You're documenting some things that may not always make everybody look in the best light.
Yep. Yep.
But true, you know, I always say, like, if it's true, then that's the best.
Yeah.
It is really your best friend. I mean, honesty really is the best policy in this, because pretending it isn't will come bite everybody, and then it won't be successful. And I know I can't believe we're at time. Please, Jen, final closing thoughts. I'm so sorry. It's just it's such a good topic, and I know we can go on forever. And we'll be doing sessions on this. It'll be part of our contract management series we'll be doing with GC Collective in the next month. We're starting in February. So lots of these topics are definitely going to be surfaced. But please, give us some closing thoughts.
Yeah, I just really applaud InnoLaw because it's baked into what you're doing. And so I often say change management is like a green chocolate chip cookie, in that it tastes really good and people are like, oh, these are delicious, even though they're green. Yeah. And the green is the broccoli. It's the good stuff. It's good for you. But I don't tell people it's change management. I don't usually lead with that, because for lots of different reasons, it tends to be a little off-putting, or it's the touchy-feely stuff. Oh gosh, it's the feeling stuff. And so I usually park that, and we'll talk about, what does good look like for you in the next 90 days? What does good look like for you at the end of this implementation? Beyond just it working on the technology side, how do you want people to think and feel about this at the end? And once you reorient the conversation around that and use change management sort of under the hood of what you're trying to do, it really, really enables people and brings them along on the journey.
Okay, I love it. We always say you have to have your veggies before we'll let you have cake, but I like your green chocolate chip cookies way better.
Way better.
So, green chocolate chip cookies for everyone. With that, thank you so much, Jen, and everybody. I hope everybody looks up GC Collective and join the movement that you started. Awesome. So with that, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely, Lucy. I loved it. Thanks.